can do our blessing for today's meal and meeting, and so we can get our meeting started. Thank you so much.
I know parents may not be excited about school ending, but I think we're getting a little excited. So excuse us if we're laughing, if we're joyful. Please bow your heads, everyone. Dear God, thank you right now for this moment, for this day, such a beautiful day that you have made. Lord, thank you for the traveling grace that you provided for those who have made it here, and I ask that you will extend that traveling grace to those who are still on their way, and we're going to ask you now to extend that traveling grace as well when we depart from this place. Lord, thank you right now for this meal we're about to receive. Lord, bless the hands, our clerical staff, our administrative assistants who help prepare the meal, the organization, the agency, all of it. Just thank you, dear God, for the hands that have made this possible for us to enjoy a nice, delicious lunch on today. We ask and pray that it bring nourishment to our body and no harm will come to us. In Jesus' name we do pray. Amen.
Thank you so much, Dr. Epps. We can stand and receive our treats for today. So please get in line so that as soon as you get your meal, we can start our meeting. Thank you so much, guys. I hope you're enjoying your food, everybody. Looks delicious. At this time, we call Teresa Rayner, our director, lead nurse, to introduce our speaker. Oh, she's not here yet. Okay, so enjoy your food. It looks delicious. You guys look awesome as well. I wish today was Friday. It feels like a Friday to me. So, who's new here today in our meeting? You are our new. This is a parent, guys, from WAMS. We welcome you. And most of our friends here are people who have joined us every year. So I appreciate you guys tremendously for coming to support our meetings every year. I can tell you that in our agenda, we have the meetings that are going to be here for next year. So please put those on your calendar and make sure you don't miss a meeting. If you have any other parents that would like to join us or friends, please pass on the information so that they can come and get information about our community, our schools, everything wonderful that is happening in our school district and in our community. We'd like to share with you. And also, if you have any ideas in the future for meetings, please get with us. Tell us, let us know so that we're able to give you information that you want us to research for you. Teresa?
Hi, welcome again. Like Ms. Juarez said, thank you very much for coming. We do have a guest speaker today, Kimberly Reeves, and she's from Synacor, and she is the family director. So please welcome. Okay. And we have up here, if you want to go up here. Or if you'd like to walk around.
There's no calendar.
Okay. There we go. Or there's your PowerPoint.
Okay, and do you have a clicker?
Hi, everyone. As mentioned, my name is Kimberly Reeves, and I am the facility director with Synacor. And first, I'm going to go over some things with you about vaping. It is very prevalent in our schools these days, but there are many, we are learning lasting effects of vaping that are harming our children in much different ways throughout the years than originally thought. You think nicotine? Well, it gets a lot rougher than that, right? So you might be wondering why a substance use disorder facility is doing a presentation on vaping, because they are very much correlated. The more time that passes, the more research that's done, they are finding that correlation, and it is being compounded over time. So what we're going to talk about today is what vaping is, the effects that it has on you, your body, and definitely your mental health, myth busting, and facts about vaping. Okay, so what is vaping? Vaping is it's a gas. It's a way to inhale nicotine through a gas. And that's a variety of apparatuses and the different generations over time that the children are now using. You may see any of those gadgets and may not recognize what it is. That is what they are using to vape, okay? It's also it's a condensed form of nicotine. It's more powerful than a cigarette, but there are other carcinogens and other chemicals involved that make it very dangerous. Okay. Oh no, there was a good video here. Let's see. Okay, unfortunately, the video was going to go into telling you all about the chemical effects and how it impacts the body and the various organisms, your lungs, your respiratory system, your cardiovascular system, things of that nature, and how it impacts young developing bodies. As we know, bodies don't quit growing until they're 20, 21 years old. You know, that last burst happens, it seems, right at the end of high school. So some facts about vaping are going to include that nicotine liquid used in vaping devices is poisonous. It's just straight up poison. It's not supposed to be in your body, right? So when you put it in gas form, and we all know that the brain is the most susceptible organ to addiction, you're putting chemicals in a gas form that has direct contact through your respiratory system. The chances of getting addicted multiply. Vaping devices can explode, and on average, like I had mentioned, the nicotine content is much higher. Okay, facts about vaping include a list, 2,711 cases of lung disease correlated directly to vaping. Okay? Nicotine poisoning is another big one because it is so concentrated that often we see kids go, they'll start having nausea, they'll start getting dizzy, and if you can catch it then, you're really lucky. Sometimes they go into comas and they don't come back, or they're hospitalized as a result of nicotine poisoning. 8th graders who vape are 10 times more than likely to eventually smoke cigarettes than non-vaping. I will say that they are also more likely to use THC next, because THC is also a chemical that is now being used in a vaping gas. 60% of young people think that e-cigarettes are mostly flavor. The truth is, that is a marketing tool, right? If you notice, all the flavors are fluffy, and they're sweet, and they're all of those things, just like candy, because it disguises the taste of nicotine for the young person who hasn't developed maybe that, acquired taste, I guess. I'm not a smoker, so I don't know. But it disguises that harsh kind of nicotine. And it looks fun. Their friends are doing it. It tastes like candy. Why not? They get to look cool. Not so cool. Sorry about the PowerPoint. Oh, I'm going the wrong direction. Sorry. Okay. This is not fair because we didn't have the vaping videos, right? So I'm going to go through it with you. So how many generations of vapes are there? There are 4. Yeah, 4. The average vape pod has the same amount of nicotine as how many cigarettes? 20. All right. And then vaping myths. Okay. Vaping helps people stop smoking. That is not true. What people who smoke are looking for is nicotine. So it's actually a more powerful and more dangerous form of smoking. The dangers are just widespread instead of primarily, they're just more concentrated and they can be more sudden with vaping than a cigarette. Vaping is safer than smoking. No, not at all. In fact, it's more dangerous than smoking suddenly. It has very immediate consequences sometimes that smoking a cigarette would not have. Vacuuming products, harmless water vapor. Absolutely not true. Vaping products are full of chemicals. They're full of metal flakes. The way that the liquid is turned into a gas is a metal coil that is ignited with an igniting mechanism, and it's heated up to a very high level of heat to turn that water-ish chemical into a gas. So during that process, though the metal that is on the coil, then in the mechanism, all of that, it is getting broke down, and it is also going into your lungs. Vaping myths continued. Okay. Vaping doesn't create secondhand smoke. Have you ever known someone to vape? And you know when it's been a while since they've been able to. That you'll stand next to them, and when they exhale, I've never seen anything like it. I've never seen a cigarette fill a room the way that that vaping vapor will when some people are vaping, right? It's easy to quit vaping. Logically, if there's more nicotine involved in something, it's going to be more difficult to put down, right? I'll use opioids as an example. When an individual first starts using opioids, it's only a little bit. The more they use, the more often they use, the more difficult it is to put that chemical down. Okay. 5 vaping myths busted. Nicotine is just like caffeine. Nicotine is not just like caffeine. It is not about energy, although it can be, but it has many more harmful effects than caffeine. And vaping will directly affect the brain. So where caffeine may not impact the cognitive abilities of a child, vaping very much can. And remember, the younger you start vaping, the higher the consequences are to your mental health, your cognitive abilities, your ability to learn and retain information, because your brain is still growing and developing. It all through until about 20 years old. So if I vape, I won't smoke cigarettes. Nope, that's not true either. You might smoke cigarettes to try to quit vaping. I've seen people who will chew nicotine gum, they will vape, they will smoke cigarettes, all 3 at the same time, all in an effort to kick nicotine. Yeah, exactly, I shake my head too. Okay, so vaping doesn't hurt the people around you. It absolutely does. We were just talking about that big, massive exhale and how those vape gases fill the room. And that very much can. So, and e-cigarettes just produce a harmless water vapor. That is not true either. Okay. Vaping helps stop people from smoking. False. I think I hit that twice. Vaping is just harmless water vapor. True or false? All right. Well, okay. Vaping in your brain. So here, this shows your brain in its development, right? From the ages of 5 to 20. You see how your adolescent brain, your 5-year-old brain is very, very active. It's pulling in all kinds of information. And there's your adolescent brain, and then your brain actually doesn't stop developing. So during that process, when you're putting chemicals in, you are hampering your ability to successfully develop cognitive skills, retain information, things of that nature that a child is going to need to get through life. Social skills, those type things. If you've ever noticed, children that vape, they're in a clique, and children that don't vape are in a clique. That isolation alone and the way that it impacts children socially can be very, very impactful as they grow older. You'll hear the right crowd, the wrong crowd. I think there are children who are hurting, right? I don't want to say the right or the wrong crowd, but vaping often gives them a reason to separate themselves and isolate themselves. Because you have a crowd of young children, or I keep saying children, adolescents, who are against vaping and are absolutely, they're in the schools and they're letting people know, don't vape, don't vape, don't vape. And then that isolates other children who may be experiencing that kind of risky behavior, that need to thrill seek, which we often see in our junior highs. You know, they're learning and they're growing. Okay. Okay, effects on the body, the vascular health. Just like nicotine, but only more concentrated, it's going to increase heart rate, blood pressure, and it increase the risk of heart disease as they get older. Your respiratory health, inflammation, asthma, lots of cases of adult asthma are showing up. I'm not sure how aware that you are about what's going on in the healthcare industry right now, but we have lots of things happening to adults now that didn't used to happen. It wasn't publicly known, right? But adult asthma is one of them, and adult ADHD is another one. It's out there, and in the last 10 years, we've seen it seems like an explosion of diagnoses for both of those issues. Nicotine toxicity, we talked about that a little bit earlier and talked about how it's dizzy and diarrhea. Here are some of the side effects that you want to watch for in your adolescent child if they are vaping or on school campuses, because they're not going to vape in front of you, right? They're going to go vape in a corner, show up in your classroom, and the next thing you know, they may be throwing up, needing to go to the restroom, dizzy. Those are all warning signs, okay? Cognitive effects, controlled attention, learning, mood, impulse control, all of those things we've hit already. But impulse control is a big one. Have you ever seen someone who needs a cigarette really bad? Well, when you have an adolescent who needs a cigarette really bad, it looks 10 times worse than it does on an adult, because they don't have the luxury of going and getting a cigarette. They just have the withdrawal effects to deal with, right? And I had mentioned earlier that the brain is at most risk for addiction. So anything that is vaped, brought into the body as that gas vape, you're at risk of becoming more addicted that way than, say, smoking, even smoking marijuana, because THC is a very big thing that's happening now in the vaping world. Memory loss, hanging on to new memories. Like you might be able to have those older memories when you were growing up, but as you start vaping, the ability to retain memories has been shown to be problematic. So you may not develop new memories of pleasure, of pain, or whatever those things are that are going to drive you to be safe and to grow. Effects on the body. We did this already. Let's see. Okay. Peer pressure. I think there's some peer pressure, especially in junior high. Yes. I remember when I was in junior high, and peer pressure for me didn't necessarily take the form of, come on, let's do it. Peer pressure for me often happened in my own brain that said they look like they're having such a better time than I am. Their life looks so much better than mine. Their life seems so much more fun than this homework my mom is making me do. How can I be one of those kids? Sometimes our children are putting that pressure on themselves just because I think it's human nature to have that grass is greener on the other side experience as we grow. And sometimes we hang on to that as adults as well, but particularly as we're growing. Peer pressure, okay. Ways to say no. No thank you is a good way. We need to be teaching our children this, though. We need to be educating our children in the schools is what this really amounts to. We have an opportunity that society doesn't have. I can have a big health fair. Do you come? Don't you come? You know, I can be at attendance and in networking events. Are you there? Are your children there? Or aren't they there? But we have schools who have PE programs and have health programs. And if we are teaching these things and the harmful effects in our schools at the basic levels, we are doing our children a service. We are doing their parents a service, and we're doing our communities a service. Let's see. Ask yourself, vaping bogs down your lungs and alters your connections to your brain. Is it worth it? Is it worth trying something that you could become addicted to? I will tell you often adolescents say, yeah, because, it won't happen to me. You know, because I do work in treatment, substance use disorder treatment, I cannot tell you the number of very young adults. And when you're sitting down talking to them, they share with you, I just never thought it would happen to me. I still can't figure out how this happened to me. You know? We all are unique individuals. So why would we want to do something to be just like everyone else? How do we get that message across? That it's okay to be unique. It's okay to make our own decisions and guide our own path based on what we want out of life. Those are the messages that we need to work harder as a community to provide for our children. How we do that? There's a million ways. You know, I couldn't even begin to tell you. You know, each child is different. Okay, so that's the end of the slideshow, and I'm actually kind of glad because now I get to tell you about something else. I am with Synacor. And so, like I mentioned when I came in, why would I be here talking to you about vaping? Well, let me tell you what happened on my way here. So I called Teresa, and I told Teresa, do I bring my flash drive? Or da-da-da-da. She says, you didn't email me your PowerPoint. So I'd run back in the building. No big deal. I'm sitting right there, right? Okay, no problem. I don't make it back out the front door. And pardon me, this is why I was late. And there's a young man who's 20 years old, and he is overdosing in my lobby. He's got a vape pen in his hand. That's what he's sitting there with. And he's turning blue. And they're doing respiratory breaths. And they're calling 911. And it happened that fast. I had just got in my car. I had just walked through that same lobby, gotten into my car, and called Teresa. Had maps drawn up. I was on my way. And I know it was no sooner than me it happened so quick. I had just walked through the same lobby, got to my office, sent the PowerPoint, and was walking out. Ask Teresa how quick this was. And all of a sudden, they're calling 911. I see things like that quite regularly, unfortunately. And it doesn't just happen to our youngsters. I mean, it happens to everyone. So what Synacor wants everyone to know about Synacor is our world is changing. The world of addiction, of substance abuse, of early onset of substance abuse, that then turns into dependence, right? It is changing. There are all kinds of research out there that indicate a child who is vaping as an adolescent is 60 times more likely to at least experiment with THC. I suspect, we haven't proven, that vaping is our new gateway. And it's a gateway to a much more severe condition than we've seen. I've been with Synacor 10 years, but Synacor's been doing substance use disorder treatment for 56 years. And over time, we have watched the average age of our clients decrease, the high levels of mental health increase, the chemicals change. We've went from heroin, which was an opiate plant, natural, right? To synthetic heroines, to fentanyl. And now there's xylazine in your neighborhoods. And how do I know this? 6 weeks ago, maybe longer than that, 7 weeks ago, we had 4 overdoses in 1 week. One young lady, someone came in, ran into my building. She's 22 years old. They run into my building, they tell me somebody looks like they're overdosing in their truck, right? And so there's someone with her, they're both so out of it, she's overdosing, he's so out of it on something that he's just slumped over in the seat and he can't hear us banging trying to get in to save her. It turns out what she was taking had xylazine in it. If you've been watching the news, xylazine is what they are calling the zombie drug or trank, and it's really big up north in Philadelphia. They're having a real big crisis with it, and then in Boston, they're having a huge impact on the community with this xylazine, and it has snuck into the supply down here, and it hit our community about 7 weeks ago. Now, it may have hit sooner than that, and we were just unaware. But my nurses have educated themselves so they know what to look for. And some of the other things that you would look for to indicate if there was xylazine use involved, they're identifying, and so then we test. And we had 4 of these individuals within a week span, and every single one of them came from our area in Galena Park, Pasadena, Seabrook, and Deer Park. It's horrific. It's changing. And as far as adolescents are concerned, if this is a gateway to anything, we need to do what we can to prevent it, the early use of vape. And that's the biggest message that I want to convey to you. I also want to let you know that Synacor, as a foundation, we have adolescent support. If you notice that you have a family or a child, and I've noticed we got a mixed audience here. You have a child or you have family members, or you've identified someone in the school that may be having these issues at home, the child, the family, we have a resource. We do adolescent care at our Odyssey House facility. We take all payer sources. If you can't afford care for your adolescent, we have some opportunities to provide care, provide substance use treatment for the child. We also have opportunities on all levels to provide substance use disorder treatment for their sisters, brothers, family members. Do they need outpatient? Do they need detox because they're drinking alcohol really severely? And we all know that alcoholism of a parent is also an indicator the child may abuse very soon, right? So if we're able to do some of those things, give them Centocor as a referral, knowing they're going to be taken care of, because it doesn't matter if they have insurance, it doesn't matter if they're on Medicaid, and it doesn't matter if they have nothing at all. We're going to find a place in our foundation, and we're going to take care of them. I have 100 open beds across Texas today. I got 10 in my own facility. That's kind of scary because I know what's going on in the world where we're able to meet your needs. So I want you to know that too. I also have a few handouts that go in really in depth into this vaping. I just brought 10. I didn't know who would be interested, who already has the information, and I'm glad I brought them because the videos didn't work, and they do a much better job than I do. So, but I'm going to put them on this table up here, and there are 10 of them. If you want a copy, grab one. If you need more copies, maybe Teresa can help y'all get some more copies. But they really go in depth with the vaping information. And just know that we're your resource, 1-888-Centocor. Give us a call. I am really invested in your children and your community because it starts there. You know, it absolutely starts there. And it can end there. At least for some, we can end it there. Okay? Thank you for spending your time with me today. Let me talk to you. Let me stumble through my PowerPoint. But please read the information. Okay? All right, I appreciate y'all very much.
Thank you so much for the information. As scary as it is, you would think that the information alone would be enough to make children and adults stop, but we know it's not. So thank you for continuing to educate us on that topic, which is so very critical at this time. I do just want to let you all know, as community members and employees and so forth and parents, that we do have vape detectors in the restrooms of our secondary campuses. Not every restroom, but in the majority, a lot of our secondary campuses do have them, and it is a problem. Right? The vape detector goes off each time it appears to have detected some student coming in vaping. And we do have staff that are alerted to the vape detector once it goes off. But it is a very tough task. And so it takes the school community, the outside community, parents, everyone, Centocor, everybody, to help us educate our children and our adults on the dangers associated with, because as you can see, obviously, vaping being equivalent to 20 cigarettes is earth-shattering and extremely damaging to the body. So just so you know, we are on task. We are on the mission to try to fight the vaping issue, but it is very tough, and it is one that we battle each and every day.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. And we'll get copies made, pass these out. Okay, perfect. Thank you. There we go. I did want to add to hers. I was interested, so I looked up the xylazine. It is a common veterinary drug used for sedation, anesthesia, muscle relaxation for horses and cows and mammals. And then our kids are using this and putting it in their body. And they're mixing it with the heroin and the fentanyl.
So what happens is you have 2 respiratory suppressants, and they're hitting the system at once. And our Narcan only it only stops the opioid. It does not stop the xylazine. The young lady I told you about in the truck, 9 things of Narcan to just hold back, right, the opioid long enough for rescue breaths to revive the client. Yeah, in the EMS. Of course, she went EMS. But it's very dangerous. It's very, very dangerous. And I don't want to see any of our children go that way. What just happened in the report, we're all aware of the one pill. When are they going to put xylazine in it? That'll be next. Yeah.
Thank you. And there's some lunch back there, and thank you very much. For new business, I did want to mention that our students, we have opportunities for our students to go to the City of Houston for vision screening. They actually see real doctors from U of H and Mann Eye Center and one other one. But this year we had over close to 300 students go, and they will actually give them glasses. So that was a big opportunity. And all we have to supply is the bus and lunch. So that's all our cost. And then we had opportunity for all of our second graders to go to the City of Houston to have dental care. And we sent 250 second graders. And the cost that was saved was $31,843. So they were able to get sealants, cleaning, and fluoride, and then referred out to a primary dentist if they needed other care. And then on top of that, we do still have our legacy clinics for shots, for any health care, for physicals, and then we also have our dentists. So if you know of someone that needs that, please refer them that also. Any other? And then we'll just do them. Okay. And so for our next meeting, patrons wishing to address the board may do so by registering by 8:30 a.m. the day of the meeting at my email, and patrons who have duly registered may address the board and make public comments on an item before the consideration of the item. Okay. And now we'll just do our minutes. We'll put those up. If you can review the minutes, we have them in English and Spanish. Thank you, Ms. Webb, for taking care of that.
Yes, we like to approve the minutes for Thursday, February 15, 2024. Your name? Thank you. We need a second. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Minutes approved.
Minutes are approved. As I mentioned earlier, the meeting for next year, we already have those 4 meetings scheduled, so please make sure that you note them in your calendar so that we can see you again next year. This is our last meeting for the year, and we appreciate your support. Again, as I told you earlier as well, if you have any ideas for any meetings in the future, please let us know. There is a, let me see if I have it. Don't we have a meeting? No?
Evaluation.
The evaluation, yes. There
Should be in your folder.
Yeah, it should be in your folder. Yeah, thank you. Scan the evaluation. Please let us know if We hit good points this year. If you would like to make recommendations, please do so. We welcome them. We need them. We want to know what you're interested in so that we can bring it to you. Everything, if we do this together, we can bring a lot of light into situations that are happening in our school districts or in our community, okay? So I appreciate that. Are we good?
And with our district, our students receive free lunch and breakfast. And along with this, a requirement is to do campus wellness plans. So we have included a flyer also for you, and you can just scan the QR code, and it'll give you the wellness plan for all the schools in the district, and kind of give you an idea of what all goes on in the school to help promote the wellness. And so this includes all of the schools. Yes. And we want to thank you very much for the baby shower gifts that you brought. Those will go to our daycares. Do our daycare ladies want to stand up? We have teen parents, and our daycares include students, teacher students or employee students, and teen parent students. And so this goes to the teens and to the teens at our daycares. So thank you very much.
And we normally do this on our last meeting of the year. So if you would like to continue donating to them, you're more than welcome to drop anything here in the district throughout the year. But if not, we'll catch you on next April. So we normally do a baby shower every April meeting. Okay, so I appreciate your gifts and your donations. And I think this is it. The end of our meeting has adjourned. I really appreciate you guys. Nice seeing you. I'm going to miss y'all, and we'll see you next year. In behalf of Dr. Epps, Teresa, myself, and the staff, appreciate everything that you guys do for us. I appreciate it. Thank you.
And make sure to sign the sign-in sheet on the end of your table. Thank you. Yes. Yes.
Every time. So thank you,
Yes.
thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure.
And we have copies here from Ms. Reeves from the Senate Corps. So please pick one up.